Actually, we would be on our way to Slovenia right now, but we have 2 broken bikes in the back, so hey guys, welcome to a new video. It is so good to see you. We are in a rush because we need to get the bikes ready for our holiday trip. So we've got some parts. For one, we have the spare part for Leon's clutch, which is just this tiny thing. And then we have new rocker arms for my KTM, and we can adjust the valve clearance on that one and do oil changes on both. So we've got a lot to do. Some more cosmetic things that we might take to Slovenia, but let's start with the clutch.
Ja. Ne? Ja. Also lass ja nur.
So the problem with the 701 is that his clutch doesn't work as it should, because there's one very common issue with the 701s. How do you call that? Like the clutch taker cylinder, which is down at the engine, that breaks. Mostly only the O-ring, but sometimes the whole thing breaks. And fortunately, for some reason, I got it for my brother's birthday, which is in a few days. But now we're gonna use it today. So yeah, let's get that done and then my SMC. So the part that is broken is this tiny little thing here that's connected to the clutch cable. Well, hydraulic clutch line. As long as the system up here is closed, we should be able to take it off at the bottom without anything spilling over, so that would be nice. So that's weird, the one screw is super loose already and the other is still very tight, so I don't know what that issue is. Okay, let's see. You can feel the pressure. There we go.
Geht vorbei, ja.
Oh. Okay, yeah. There's still something coming out. Meinst du, das ist Öl?
Aber woher soll das kommen? Das sieht halt nicht aus wie Dings, ne?
Das ist Öl. It looks like we have a leak of the hydraulic fluid, which comes out here. So I think this might be one problem why the clutch doesn't engage anymore. The other weird thing is that oil comes out of the system right there, which I don't know why, but let's see which parts we need to keep, which we have to change, and then reinstall it, and hopefully it works. So this is just the metal part, and then there's like this rubber lip on there and the O-ring. So what often happens is that this O-ring gets destroyed by the brake fluid. So let's see how this one looks in here. I don't know how to get it out actually. Fuck. Ah, nice. Das kommt schon mal raus. Wear gloves when working with brake fluid. Yeah. Oh. Right, so there's an easy way to get the piston out, and that would be to just unscrew this part but keep it connected to the clutch, and then just engage the clutch a few times. So pull the clutch lever and then the piston should come out. You just have to be careful that it doesn't like fly out and you have like brake fluid everywhere, but that is the easier way. So there's one part broken on the O-ring. If it's like really damaged, you can see wear and tear on the inside, or it's just the O-ring that's destroyed. So I hope this was our problem and that it's fixed with a new part. Now we need to open this screw for that you use to let the air out, but it sits so tight. Normally you would do it while it's still on the bike, but well, we didn't get it open and we didn't want to ruin the screw. But now, I don't know how we can Yeah,
Yep.
nice. To get the new piston in, you have to open this screw so air can flow back out. Okay, that's good. I've got no idea why the spring has some grease on there, but we don't have this special grease, and I think like not every grease is compatible with brake fluid, so we are going to install it without grease. We have a new spring that came with a kit. And actually, if you have the same problem with your 701 or any other Husqvarna, they use Magura, and you could use the KTM spare part, which is Brembo and is supposed to be a little better. But yeah, and they're also like completely new systems that are quite expensive but should work the best. The problem is, if you have a leak, then brake fluid can get into the engine and vice versa. And if brake fluid gets into the engine oil, then it decreases the capabilities of the oil to lubricate your engine, and that could ruin your engine. So before we install the new piston, I'll just apply a little brake fluid on the new O-ring. We use DOT 5.1 brake fluid. Wear gloves if working with brake fluid. Yum, yum, yum. My working habits aren't the most healthiest ones, but I don't know, just wear gloves if you do that. The spring goes in here, and then this whole thing goes in there, like so. And then if this screw is open, you should be able to just carefully push it in there. Very carefully, and then all the way to the end, like so. And then just apply this seal on top, and that's it. This here is where the clutch taker cylinder sits, and that is connected to the engine, so that's where the oil brake fluid exchange would happen. Because we had it on the side stand, that's also why the engine oil poured out. Alright, so now we're attaching the taker cylinder to the clutch line, and then we need the new seal. Where are the parts? Yeah. It's a very tight spot with the chain and all the things, so I would go like this and then behind the chain. Yeah, looks good.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. And now when you push it in, you want to push it in as evenly as possible so that it doesn't go in at an angle. Work. Okay, I hold the bike. The problem is that on the left side, the thread in the engine is kind of broken, and that's probably already from the factory. So now it's hard to find the right starting point. I think at some point we have to exchange the thread with a helicoil repair kit. So that's installed. Next up, we're going to refill the whole system, get all the air out. And to do that, we have to level this reservoir and then push the brake fluid from the bottom with a syringe up the top so that all the air is out, and then we can bleed it again. Then we're sure that there's no air left in the system. Right, let me find this syringe. Found it. That was easy. Okay, so we have a 100 milliliter syringe, and then we need a tube. I have a longer tube than this. Something like that fits on this screw right here, this one, like so. And I hope that it works with the pressure. To get this reservoir level, we need to open this screw, like that, and then open this reservoir. With these screws you have to be very careful because they're super delicate. If you have a rubber dust guard here, then take it off, because otherwise it might happen that your brake fluid goes under there and inside all the areas where it's not supposed to be. We just cover it with some paper towels. And since we only have this many paper towels left, we had to steal some toilet paper so that we don't run out of paper to cover everything. So today we're working with toilet paper. Right, take this off. There you go. And here you can see something very interesting. All of this is water, and water gets into your brake fluid system, yeah, through like little cracks and stuff like that over time. And water doesn't have the same properties like brake fluid, and that just could ruin your day. Clean this little rubber lip, make sure that it's in good condition. Well, that one's very nice. There you go. So, first time doing it this way, normally I would just bleed the clutch, and I've never actually like fed it through the bottom so it came out here. So we'll see how it goes. Is it actually smart to have such a long tube, because then we have all the air inside the tube? Or we have to push it right until here and then just put it on the screw. This closed wrench is much better than the open one, because you can put it on there and then it stays there. I hope that we can just push it and it doesn't flow over, but through the system up to the top.
Yeah, there's air coming out.
Yeah?
Like small bubbles. Yeah.
Nice. It's not the cleanest version, because there is definitely some spillover down here. Close the screw down here. At least now we have fluid in the system and we can now bleed it. We can put this one back in the container. Wow. To bleed the clutch, we need some kind of container. We have a glass bottle, and that goes here. First, you put on the wrench on the little screw. Then the tube goes on there, and this one goes into the bottle. So this is the setup. Now we're going to pump the lever until we can feel pressure. Open this screw, then the brake fluid will run through here. Then we need to close it again before we release the lever. So it's easier to do this with 2 people, but if you're alone, you can do it like this. That also works, but we're going to do it together, so then we just have it easier. Okay, you hold.
Yeah.
I open. I close.
Okay.
You pump again, yeah.
Das Ding ist, woher weiß ich denn? Also, wann müssen wir noch fertig sein?
Wir machen jetzt so. Alright, that's a good question. How do we know when we're finished? So what we're going to do is just fill this up twice or 3 times, something like that, so that we are sure that all the fluid went through this, that was up there and in the lines and back out, and now we have new fluid in the reservoir and in the line. You have to make sure that this upper reservoir doesn't get empty, because otherwise you pump air back into the system. So always make sure that you top it up. It looks good that he only has to pump twice to get like enough pressure. So to fill it up for the last time, there are instructions in your manual. We need 4 millimeters from the top edge. So we have 3, that's why Leon is going to take some of the fluid back out. Yeah.
That's good.
That's good. Whatever's too much is just gonna flow over. If you clean it up, that's no problem. Alright guys, let's see if it runs. Well, it will run, but if it works. No way. Fuck. Oh,
It's even worse than before.
fuck. But it feels good, right? I feel it.
It is
It's the
similar.
same, right? Let's try again. You try? No way! Wait. Yes! Oh. How stupid! Now we have to do an oil change, because we don't want to risk engine damage in case brake fluid got into the oil system. We've got all the oil, and we've got an oil change kit yesterday from KTM. We had to run through the whole city to get it. I forgot the key, and I actually don't know where I've put it. I never locked this, but when I came back from the north, I put it in our garage and I thought it would be good to lock it, and I forgot where it is. Now I don't have it, but we need what's in here, so didn't change anything that I locked it because that was pretty easy. Right, what do I want to get? For the oil change, it's best that the engine is slightly hot, so we're going to get it outside, run it for, I don't know, 2-3 minutes, a bit, and then the oil flows much better out of the engine. I'm so relieved that that worked out because, I don't know, that would have been a real bummer for our holiday. Let's see. Right, the engine is hot. Now we're just gonna drain the old oil and then put in new filters and then 1.7 liters of new oil. We start by taking out the oil drainage plug on the left side. That's this one right here. There we go. Now that that is out, we can go ahead and take out the oil filter on the left side. That's right here underneath the exhaust pipe. If you have the oil change kit from KTM, you get all new O-rings and stuff like that. If you have an aftermarket one, be sure to either get them or to check whether these are still in a good condition. Right, we'll deal with that later. Now we need to get out the oil filter. Go in there, push them out, and then hope for the best. Sometimes that doesn't work. What you can do then is just take a screw and then hammer and drill it in there, and that's how you get your oil filter out. Number one, onto the other side. Next we have the oil filter on the right side, which is this one. Back on the left side, now we'll take out the oil strainers. One sits right here next to the oil drainage plug. That's the first one we're going to take out. And if you only get filters without the complete set, just to save a few bucks, then you can clean those with a brake cleaner and they should be good for another time. The last one is right here in the front. Let's prepare the new parts. With a kit, you got 2 new oil strainers, the 2 corresponding screws for that, all the O-rings you need, and then this is the old drainage plug. But we're gonna take off the copper ring, exchange that, and make sure that you clean this magnetic tip because there's all sorts of junk on there. The 2 biggest O-rings are for the filter lids. First, the copper ring goes on there. That's done. Now we have these 2 bigger ones. These go on the screws. And then we have the 4 smaller ones that go on the strainers. To apply the O-rings, it's best that you take some of the old oil or some new oil, like this, and then apply it to the O-rings, and then onto the screw. And these 2 little O-rings go on each side of the strainer. Now the new one goes on. That's it. First thing we're going to install back on the bike is this, and you have to make sure that it sits properly on the other side. There is like a little pin, basically, like this. Then clean the sealing area, and then the new screw goes on there. This one will be tightened with 15 Newton meters. Goes in there. The same thing here with the pin. Clean the sealing area, and then the new screw. Also on this side, 50 Newton meters. Good. Next is this filter, and on the left side you use the bigger one, and that one goes in like this with a seal to the inside, like that. Now the lid with the new O-ring, that goes on like that. So that's an 8mm and will be tightened with 6 Newton meters. Back on the right side, just grease this one. You can use old or new oil, it doesn't really matter. Clean the sealing area, put in the filter. This looks identical on both sides, and I think the numbers go on this side. Last thing that we need to do is put in the oil drainage bowl in here with a new copper ring, and that's tightened with 20 Newton meters. Now 1.7 liters of fresh oil, 10W50.
Okay. Das ist deutlich schräger, ja.
So 1 liter. So what we're going to do is just fill 700 milliliters from the full bottle into the empty one. And now this one goes in here.
Läuft.
Right, 701 done. We are 5 hours in, so now we have about the same time to do the KTM, but first we need to get some food and then we'll continue. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one.